Well, I think it was late 59 or 1960 that I got a call to come out to Disneyland and audition for the Dapper Dance. There's a brand new quartet there, a barbershop quartet. And so I went over to audition. So I was hired as the baritone. It was a perfect job for a school teacher. You worked on the weekends, you worked during the summer, you worked during Christmas. It was perfect.
It was wonderful because Walt Disney was still alive and he was out there a lot. And we would go into a coffee shop on Main Street to sing, and we would sometimes happen upon him. He'd be having coffee there was a Hills Brothers shop on Main Street, and we'd just go in, and there he was talking to his friends. He'd look up and smile and nod, and we'd sing a couple tunes and go on. And
the Dapper Dans were all just so much fun, every single one of them. I worked on Main Street in the Yale and Town Lock Shop, and I always just adored when they came in and sang. Their personalities were different, but they really had a great fun time together, the way they related to each other, and you could see that when they were performing.
Where I was born.
In the early 60s, we did a television show here called Disneyland After Dark. And we did it at this porch, and there was a group of people gathered around here. The quartet sang "Carry Me Back to Old Virginia" with the old hat routine.
That's where I labored so hard for old Massa, day after day in the fields of yellow corn.
And then across the street at Coke Corner, we would almost every day go over there and do a 20 or 30-minute show and have some audience participation and some fun things.
Some people, they'd be looking for something to buy and they'd move us out of the way. They'd push us and we'd start laughing, you know, and keep on singing, and Jim would crack up and Fred would show his disapproval by going, that he started that. You know, somebody'd bend over and he'd go, and that was Fred Frank.
I would see something new on Main Street every day. And I was on Main Street a lot. We'd sing, we'd ride our bicycle, we'd talk with people, we'd have our pictures taken, and I would spot something on this street, some little detail that I had never seen before.
Well, you know, when we worked Main Street, we started out the day by, we had a bicycle built for 4. We'd get on the bike and we'd go up and down the Main Street a couple of times, always sang Daisy, Daisy, Daisy.
Disney wanted to do a promotional for Disneyland, and they wanted the Dapper Dans to ride their 4-seat tandem bicycle cross country. And they were going to document it all the way. They even talked about having a big marquee out at the front of Disneyland, so it was going to be co-sponsored by the American Heart Association. And this marquee was going to indicate how many heartbeats each of us had as we went across country. Well, we used to go out to Disneyland at 6 o'clock in the morning and rehearse. This bicycle did not have gears. So you can imagine trying to go up a hill. And it was obvious while we're practicing and working out at Disneyland, going around the different lands, that this was not going to happen, and it never did. We had a lot of freedom, and there were certain places that we were supposed to be at certain times, but other than that, we went any place we wanted to on Main Street. And we were also the only employees in the park that had facial hair. Everybody else was not allowed. No sideburns, no long hair, no mustache, no beards, but they wanted us to grow mustaches. I got a call one day, 1961, I believe, from a fellow by the name of Val Hicks. I knew Val's name, but I'd never met him. Val was regarded amongst the barbershop industry as the best arranger in the world. And he lived in Utah, and he called me one day, and apparently he found out about me because I was also at that time directing a Sweet Adeline's barbershop women's chorus in Fullerton. And somehow that news got to him, and that this same guy was at Disneyland.
My mother and I were members of the Sweet Adeline chorus, and it just so happened that Fred Frank was the director of the Sweet Adelines. And so that was how we initially met Fred. And of course, he was a pretty smart, clever fellow to become the director of the Sweet Adelines, because he had all these adoring women surrounding him.
So Val called me one day and he said, I'd like to come down and meet you, and I'd like you to meet this quartet I've been working with. They're pretty good. And he said, if you could somehow get them in front of somebody in talent at Disneyland, that'd be cool, but I want you to hear them and see them first and go from there. I said, bring them on down, you know, and no promises. Well, we made arrangements to meet at a certain time on Main Street, and he introduced me to 4 singers, 10, 8, 6, and 4 years old, by the name of the Osmond Brothers.
When they've all had the quarrels and parted, we'll be the same as we started.
Val was their arranger and their coach and had done a marvelous job with them. And so happened to be that Walt was in the park that day, and they got some time in front of him, and their career took a big leap that day. And then later on I did some voice teaching and a little bit of vocal coaching of them too.
The following program is brought to you in living color on NBC.
Right behind me, NBC. Place has got a lot of memories. Gene Martin Show, Andy Williams Show, Mickey Finn Show. We had a choreographer by the name of Alex Plashert, and he would come down and teach us some little routines of tap dancing and moving around, and it made a nice show for us.
Don't turn that dial. We'll turn you on at television's happiest place, Mickey Finn.
One night, I happened to see on television a program called Mickey Finn. Mickey Finn was a honky-tonk piano player with sort of a rock and roll feel to it. And they'd put on this program that was lots of fun. It was based on what they used to do in their nightclub down in San Diego. I saw the show and I thought, there's Alex Plashert's name. He's the choreographer for them too. So I called him and I said, Alex, I think your program needs the Dapper Dance. He said, Fred, that's a great idea. I never thought of that. So I'm in class teaching. I'm now at Kennedy High School. I had gone back into teaching, and the principal walked into my room early one afternoon. He said, there's a guy on the phone from NBC that wants to talk to you. What is this? I said, I don't know. And I went in there, and here was a guy from the production staff, one of the directors of the Mickey Finn Show. He said, Alex thinks we should see and hear you. Can you get the quartet up here? So I arranged to make we went up there in a couple of days, and we walked into their plush office and visited for a little while, and they had drinks and eats, and well, let's see what you guys do. So, and we were in costume, so we stood there in front of them, and I don't know what we sang. We might have done Happy Days. It was a sort of fun little simple quick thing, and we were into it 10 or 15 seconds, and here's all the staff guys for this TV show watching us, and we see them looking at each other with a grin on their face. All right, and we knew we had them. It was in January or February of '66 that we began the Mickey Finn Show on NBC. And Disney then said to us, you need to drop the name Dapper Dans, we own that. And so we became known as the Dapper Four.
To do a television show was wonderful. We were in the NBC studios. I think we were in the same room where Johnny Carson, or right next door to where Johnny Carson did his show.
Well, we did a lot of crazy things here with the Mickey Finn Show. The sketches were different every week, and some of them were hilarious.
So we sang a song on the show, and we did all these. We were like extras, and we did stunts. We were all young, and we could tumble.
Long ago, way down in the jungle, someone got an inspiration for a tune, and that jingle from the jungle became famous mighty soon. Thrills and chills it sends through you, hot, so hot, it burns you too. Though it's just the growl of the tiger, it was written in a syncopated way. More and more they howl for the tiger everywhere you go today. shouting. Meow,
Where's the tiger?
meow,
Where's the tiger?
meow,
Where's the tiger? Where's the tiger? Hold the tiger. Hold the tiger. Hold the tiger.
Choke him, poke him, kick him, and soak him.
Where's the tiger? Where's the tiger? Where, oh, where, oh, where, oh, can he be? Low or highbrow, they all cry now. You spin a tiger egg for me. Where's the tiger? Where's the tiger? Where's the tiger? Where's the tiger? Hold the tiger. Hold the tiger. Hold the tiger. Choke him, where's the tiger? Where's the tiger? Where, oh, where, oh, where, oh, can he be? Low or highbrow, they all cry now. Please play that tiger rag for me. That tiger rag. Play that tiger. That tiger
Thank you very much, folks. The Dapper Dans. Adventure.
And we finished the season with them. And we were not picked up to go the next year, but there were people that saw us in Las Vegas that liked what we did.
I know people that are regretful that they had an opportunity and they didn't try it. And we had the opportunity. And plus it was glamorous, you know. We'd just closed doing a television series, a summer series, and now we were signed up to play the John Esquaga's Nugget in Sparks, Nevada, and then on to the second act in Caesar's Palace in Las Vegas. We followed Jack Benny.
Now's the time to say goodbye to all our company.
Got a call one day from a fellow studio singer, John Baylor, and he says, I got a quartet that's backing Julie London. We've been doing that for years. And he said, we got a gig coming up in Hawaii. We can't make it. Would your quartet like to take the job? I said, bring it on. So we got the charts and we began working on this show for Julie. She liked us, and we were a little more available than John and his group because they were really first-string studio singers. And we did a lot of things with Julie.
We were doing 2 shows simultaneously on the Strip, one with Mickey Finn and one with Julie, and we would have to rush off stage, change costumes in a taxi, and zoom onto stage down at the Tropicana where Julie was playing. We always thought, what if a customer saw us at the Mickey Finn show and then wandered in her show and said, boy, those look like the same guys that were down there with the Mickey Finn show.
We were teaching school, 3 of us, Ron, Jim, and I. Tom worked for the city of Orange. And we didn't want to throw away our teaching jobs and the income from it. And we were making pretty good money with Finn up there, because we were up there with Mickey Finn's show. And so we decided we were going to have our cake and eat it, and we were going to pay the price by chartering an airplane. So we hired a guy who had a 6-seater Piper Apache, and his job was to fly us back and forth.
We thought we could do everything. We were 25 years old, 26. Fred was 28 or so. And we thought we could teach and to put a day's teaching in and then hop on an airplane and fly to Reno, that's where we were working, and come back, sleep on the plane on the way back, and we thought we could do it. It was only for 2 weeks. I remember sitting saying, we can do this, you guys. We can do this for 2 weeks.
Opening night, we closed in Reno, or Sparks, rushed to the airport, got in the plane. He had told us 2-hour flight. Well, it became apparent that this was not going to be a 2-hour flight. We probably got on the plane about 1 or 1:30, something like that. And about 5:30 in the morning, we're still in the air. We got to be at school in a couple hours, teaching. The plane's motors stop. We're probably at 8,000. Southern California is socked in with fog. You can't see the ground, and the motors stop. And it occurred to me, this is the end. And indeed, the motors didn't start again. We came down and there was a road, which happens to be Highway 10, but it was much smaller then, 2 lanes each way with a divider. And we were getting very close to coming down, and he was going to try to land it. And there was a train trestle going across the highway, and it looked to me like, we can't avoid that. We're going to hit that train trestle. And to this day, even though we cleared it, it must have been inches. We got over it. He touched down. We're probably doing 80, 100 miles an hour, whatever. And we're safe, but we're still moving. And we're roaring up upon a car in the left lane. It's a Volkswagen Bug. He's going probably about 40. And we're coming down on him. We're gonna hit him. And just as we're to hit him, the pilot drops the right wing, which raises the left wing, and we go over him, don't touch him, but the right wing hits the dirt on the side, and it slams us into an abutment there.
We spun a few times, and then it was just quiet. And one of us said, I think we should get out of here.
But we got out of the plane, and we decided to sing right there. And we sang a little tag, a little short ending of a song called When I Leave This World Behind, in 4-part barbershop harmony.
When I leave this world behind.
That was the first day of school, so I went and resigned, and Fred went and resigned, and Ron went and resigned, and Tom, who's resigned his job for the city of Orange too. So
we resigned that day, had to turn around, go up to LAX and get on another airplane. You try to get on an airplane after you've been in an accident one day. So we flew to San Francisco and flew back to Reno, and that was the night when the press was there to review our show, the Mickey Finn Show. AP, UPI, all those guys, they were there, and we got all the attention because of what had happened to us that day.
So goodbye, farewell, so long forever. Goodbye, my Coney Island. Goodbye, my Coney Island. Goodbye, my Coney Island. Bye.